This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Pool Party for a 2v2 featuring our red allies in the top left. This is Atomic and the orange ally, the Empire player. This is GreenAlert. Atomic and GreenAlert versus the blue Empire in the south. This is Obiek and his ally, playing Soviets, the blue in the north. This is Hammerblade, which is a very appropriate name for a Soviet player. Now, you may be seeing this, you're like, GreenAlert playing Empire, is he on his Demon arc of being a Soviet main and then essentially switching to being an Empire main almost as much as being a Soviet main? Well, Obiek and GreenAlert both played random for this game. So we have one ally, one Soviet, and then two random players. And they both got Empire, which works out quite nicely because they are both in the south as well. So we get ourselves a little Empire mirror down in the south, and then we get ourselves an AVS in the north. And we'll see how this ends up working out for everyone. Atomic might be a Smurf. I don't remember if I've seen that guy before. Same thing with Hammerblade, maybe a Smurf. I'm not really sure. But Obiek and GreenAlert, we've seen both of these guys quite a bit in the last couple of years. Ooh, are we going to be having a sudden transport full of tank busters? We might. If we are, I think it's going to be spotted by Obiek, considering how many Imperial Warriors he got into the base of GreenAlert. He's going to have pretty decent vision there. Sickle jump happens, which means it's time for the Vindicator to drop those bombs. No hope of dodging the bombs when you've just used your sickle jump. Sudden transport headed to the, well, it was headed to the north, now it turns back around, headed maybe back down south. Gonna be trying to deny this dojo from being deployed, and indeed it will deny that dojo from being deployed. Bullfrogs in the north with a couple of conscripts as well, just posturing near the allied middle of that map. Well, tank busters are going to have to come back home for defense. No sneaky attacks for this Empire player. Obiek, on the other hand, going for that Tengu harass, will be able to escape with all of the Tengus. Only a little bit of lost mining time for GreenAlert. Not a huge, devastating strike or anything like that. Honestly, the damage to that power plant probably more devastating than that lost mining time. More lost mining time, though. Obiek should be able to escape. He's got the much superior Tengu numbers, especially in the sky, if Dutch Army, or if GreenAlert tried to transform all of them. Apollo moves in, distracts the Tengus for a moment. GreenAlert can't stick around in this fight for too long, but the Apollos do come back, so they will be able to help even up the score. But in the end, of course, Obiek does still reign supreme. Loses a couple of extra Tengus there, but still, Obiek had the superior numbers, even with the Apollos moving in there. And I'm quite surprised that both players committed to that attack for as long as they did. And, well, I guess there goes the sudden transport. Obiek won't have that to worry about, even if he will have other things to worry about. Meanwhile, back on the north side, conscripts making a little bit of headway, but I don't think they're going to be able to stick around for too much longer. Bullfrogs can only chase away the Vindicators for so long when there are peacekeepers closing in on the front line. No tier 2 yet for Obiek. Dogs coming out, able to clean up those conscripts. Harvester being harassed here. Obiek will be able to deal with that, so Hammerblade can get back to work, put his Soviet economy back to work. Second Harvester going to be getting harassed as well. A lot of lost mining time here for our Soviet player across his 3 Harvesters. Tengu's moving into position, tagging that Apollo as it tries to escape, and GreenAlert going to try and cause as many problems for the economy of this Soviet player as he possibly can, and that'll be slightly slower harvesting for that Soviet player. Tier 2 is now out for GreenAlert. Tsunami tanks out onto the field, and Nope, more Tengus for Obiek. Third refinery as well. Third refinery coming up for Green Alert also. Third refinery for our allied player. Everybody getting their third refinery, but I think Hammerblade had it first. MCV now going to be starting the fourth refinery for the Soviet player. Going to be taking kind of the aggressive position there. He does have this potential location to fall back on if he isn't able to keep this fourth refinery active. But we'll see. Sometimes players are really good at defending those expansions that are a little bit further forward. Big transform on all of these Tengus will be able to knock down this refinery without too much trouble. And a couple of Apollos going to roll up here, but with point defense drones, these Tengus will have no problem, especially with only 2 Apollos. Harvester does survive, so the build radius can be potentially preserved here, or you can just get a little bit of cash back with that Harvester. Tsunami tank from Green Alert going to be getting chased away by the Stingray of Hammerblade. A couple of Tsunami tanks around the place for Green Alert. We'll see if he's actually able to hold on to this refinery. Tsunami tanks moving in, but they are slow moving. Fortunately, the Tengus had to kill off that multi-gunner turret first before they could actually start working away on this refinery. And they might just stay locked in on the refinery, and every one of these Tengus that dies close to the refinery will explode with a bit more damage thanks to the honorable discharge. Harvester not back to work. This Tsunami tank still getting chased away by that Stingray. Finally, Tier 2 up and running for Obiek. He does now have those units out, and that's a very aggressive command hub location for our red allied player. So Atomic is going kind of proxy with that location there. A couple of Tengus getting caught by Green Alert as Obiek is forced to transform there, and also this Striker forced to transform as well, and now intentionally catching that Striker in between the Tengus and the Tsunami tanks. Atomic going for the other side of the map, but he's going to have to worry about the Hammer and Blade that is inside of his main base. Terror Drone can do nothing more than just lock down that MCV. Of course, if you get the impact, that War Factory is extremely close, but does actually waste a ton of bombs. That was a super overkill on that Terror Drone. A couple of harassing units over here at the refinery location of Obiek. Hammerblade trying to throw down a Tesla coil in time, and Green Alert may lose a couple of these Tengus, but he's going to get that refinery regardless. Bullfrogs and Hammer tanks still trying to work through this main base of Atomic, but finally some reinforcements show up courtesy of Green Alert. He's going to be able to chase the Hammer tank down. Doesn't need to necessarily worry about the Bullfrogs, even if they try to escape out onto the water. And eventually, the Tengus did get chased away. The refinery did go down. War Factory being targeted down by conscripts. Hammerblade will find his damage with his 4 refinery economy, even if it has to be with conscripts. And the War Factory survives, once again, courtesy of Green Alert, who's maybe losing his own 3rd refinery for the 2nd time to the Tengus of Obiek, who has been very consistent with this harassment. His Tengus, even from the first couple of minutes in this game, attacking Green Alert down in the south. Obiek has been across the map with his Tengus attacking and defending, and he knocks down yet another refinery. Green Alert looking to return the favor. Both Empire players have that safe refinery, quote-unquote safe. It's been harassed perhaps more than almost anything else. And oh, Obiek gets caught, his refinery, in a bad spot, caught by those Tengus, and that proxy command hub still around and now being used to deploy a multi-gunner turret. This War Factory is not long for this world. Tesla troopers and Hammer tanks mixed in. Even a couple of flak troopers. You love to see it, even though we don't get to see this kind of a Soviet composition all that much. 2 weak, pathetic Riptides not going to be enough to deal with this force, and that 1 multi-gunner turret will not stop this. Even using the stasis field on the Tesla trooper, that is what we love. Those not often used abilities, and too bad those hammer tanks can't gain anything from an MCV. Tengu's moving into position. Once again, Green Alert trying to help defend his ally. Atomic having so much damage thrown at him, and Green Alert is the only one between them with a ground army. Atomic has had the multi-gunner turrets, he's had the air forces, but he's never had much of a ground army, and now his MCV is down. His multi-gunner turrets are dwindling in numbers, and the only thing that is good for Atomic is that his aircraft haven't been completely gutted. Tengu's moving in, Tsunami's moving in, Bullfrogs will be dealt with, so maybe these aircraft can be more effective, and Green Alert trying to save his Tsunami tanks. He needs everything that he's got to help break these hammer tanks, and he doesn't want to lose any more of these Tsunamis, especially leeching away their weapons to those hammer tanks. War Factory is, gone, and no Naval Yard, I don't think, either for this allied player, so he is out of the game in terms of production. Needs to sell off some of those multi-gunner turrets to get himself back online, and if he loses another production structure, he is not going to be able to reproduce this, and there it goes. The airfield gets eliminated, so unless he has snuck something out somewhere that I am just not seeing, then this is an allied player who has just one airfield. He can, of course, get up to tier 2. He can get those cryocopters, and that could still be a huge benefit, but he needs to start selling stuff off, like sell off this multi-gunner turret down there, maybe the proxy one on the other side of the map, so he can try and keep this one online. And at any rate, he needs to start selling stuff off because he's never going to have any more power plants. Tesla troopers do get targeted down, and, well, it would be nice if you had higher scale production, but it would also be nice if Green Alert showed up and saved him with a couple of Tengus, and now truly he is offline. Harvester getting harassed once again. Green Alert trying to attack and defend at the same time. Obiek needs to be worried about this attacking force which has shown up on his front door. Flak Cannon does get deployed courtesy of Hammer and Blade, and now the MCV going to be getting targeted there. He does get one crush, one Tsunami tank now dealt with, and a Chopper VX steps out, but there's the transform of the Tengus. The other Tsunami tank so close to being eliminated, but as long as the War Factory survives, then Obiek still has a chance in this game. I don't know if this War Factory is going to survive. The Tesla coil is finished up finally now, and a second Flak Cannon comes in as well. What is this? Toxins? Yeah, it's gonna be toxins. Thanks, buddy, for the toxins, because that is what Hammer and Blade does for you. The War Factory gets eliminated, and Obiek might be out of this game as well. And it's gonna be 2 Bullfrogs with 2 kills on those strikers. The Apollos get shredded as well, and unless Obiek snuck out a naval yard somewhere, which I don't think he did, he is now pretty much out of this game, and it turns into a 1v1. Empire versus Soviets. Of course, there was a little bit of allied economy there in the north, and Obiek, he may be out of the game in terms of production, but every unit that he's got can still be utilized. He can focus now entirely on micro. He doesn't have to worry anymore about macro. It's just about controlling these units to be as effective as possible. And Green Alert is sort of in this 1v... It's not 1v2 quite, it's like 1v1.5, and every unit that goes down, every unit of Obiek's that goes down is irreplaceable. He cannot rebuild anything other than harvesters at this point. And so, of course, in this situation, Obiek has to have a little conversation with Hammerblade. Does Hammerblade leave if Obiek is the better 1v1er, and then Obiek essentially just converts to Soviets? Or does Obiek stay in, harvesting up as much as he can with the knowledge that he will at one point hand it all over to his ally, and, you know, he plays it out with as many units as he's got, he plays it out with them, and then he hands over all of this cash at some point to Hammerblade? Or do you leave quite immediately and just hand over the refineries to Hammerblade? Lots of different ways to play it. Green Alert, he's going to be losing one of his 3 allied refineries, which Green Alert's economy the economy graph hasn't quite caught up with him just yet. He's losing one refinery, but he has a number of refineries still online. Now, I'm guessing he never got that one back online, so he actually doesn't have as many working refineries as I thought, considering these refineries have been harassed pretty consistently. And this one is actually offline. That one is offline. Wow, Obiek has been doing a pretty fantastic job of shutting down so much of GreenAlert's economy. He really doesn't have very many working harvesters, and Obiek, I think, is down to just 1 or 2 units left. Yep, looks like he's got 1 unit, maybe 2. I'm not sure if maybe the unit counter is just not counting harvesters. But all 3 allied refineries are now gone, so I think 1 peacekeeper is all that remains of the allied force, and Obiek has 3 harvesters. He's building more harvesters, so I guess they're pretty confident. He must be confident if he is spending the cash to build harvesters. Strikers are here as well to help deal with the twin blades and the MiGs. This Soviet force is going to be getting chased away. Tengu Chopper is the twin frog of Empire, and there goes a harvester. Gives away some veterancy, and toxins will be getting called down on this building. GreenAlert does not realize it, so he's going to be losing all of these, all of those tank busters. Unfortunate for GreenAlert, but a nice move there by Hammerblade. And Hammerblade gets himself a fresh refinery as well. This guy has pretty impressive economy, 7.1k per minute. GreenAlert should be close to that as well, but he has lost so many harvesters and so many refineries that he's only sitting at 3.4k per minute, which I think that is about to change. Maybe he just doesn't realize that this harvester is offline, that this refinery has no one working at it. So he's about to have 4 refineries, but only 3 of them working. And that might just be a dead Soviet MCV. When more than 4, if 4 Chopper VXs show up, it can be hard to stop them from killing an MCV, depending on what you've got going on. When 6 Chopper VXs show up, that is just not good. And no, that's not a Cloud Moabbing his own base situation like that. The when you call down the satellites, some of the satellites, I believe the ones that are like the little indicator satellites that come down first, those actually can kill off air units. So if you get kind of lucky with the RNG there, you can wipe out a bunch of aircraft by calling in the satellites. So that was the point of that support power being used by Hammerblade. Hammerblade now going to have to run with his hammer tanks. Their blades will have to be used somewhere else, because if they stick around in one spot, they'll just get killed off, crushed by that MCV. And, okay, GreenAlert has finally got this harvester back online. If that harvester bugs, oh, that would have been awful for GreenAlert. If that one harvester, after that refinery is offline for so long, if that one harvester got bugged. Akula Sub shows up for GreenAlert. He is low power mode, which is a bit of a problem for him. 8.2k per minute for the Soviet player, by the way. So he is looking good on this economy front. And the Akula sub escapes basically scot-free. 2 Yari mini subs will be able to target it down. He might just go suicide. Yeah, with both of them. Yep. And he gets it. He gets the Akula sub. More refineries for our Soviet player could be in the future. He might be happy to not rebuild his MCV just to exist with the Crusher Crane and to not go for any additional refineries. But also, we may see the rebuild of the Soviet MCV, although he also has a naval yard, so he could rebuild it over there and not worry about using his war factory for that. Twin Blades re-engaging, and harvesters moving in. I mean, this is something that does have to be dealt with. They're just gonna get they might actually get a kill on this power plant. I'm not sure if, do harvesters do the bonus damage when they die? He's gonna get low power mode. My gosh, these harvesters actually killed off 2 power plants. And now the Chopper VXs will be able to just rank up off of them. And they get, oh, he almost got a third power plant. 4 harvesters for 3 power plants. And keeping GreenAlert in that low power mode, forcing him not only to just waste money rebuilding power plant after power plant, but forcing his attention off of the front line, off of more important areas, and also setting him into low power mode. So he's got those extended production times. Obiek is kind of, he's kind of goofing, but he's also kind of doing real damage. Normally, I would not recommend this. He does still have 4 grand in the bank. I would be very sad if Obiek spent all of his cash, like drained out these 2 refineries, these 2 ore nodes, and just wasted all of that cash building harvesters, because obviously that's not good, efficient trading against an Empire player who has anything that he wants. Although he hasn't gone tier 3. Against a tier 2 Empire player, it's obviously very inefficient trading, and like you're just giving veterancy to these strikers and these other units. But I mean, also, if you're distracting your opponent and then the Soviet player is actually getting damage done, that's a, you know, that's a legitimate strategy. Needs another Yari mini sub. If I was GreenAlert, I would produce probably like 2 or 3 Yari mini subs just to be standing by. But of course, in this case, actually 3 Akula subs showed up. More rank ups for these strikers. Tengus are going to be here to ward the harvesters away. And now with the point defense drones, they're going to take even less damage. Second Akula does get eliminated. So the harvesters won't get the splash damage on any buildings or anything. No more power plants getting eliminated by those harvesters. Obiek might be sort of at the end of this goofball strategy. He's got a decent amount of damage done with these harvesters. More damage, more power plants killed than I would have expected. Satellite gets called down. Refinery does get eliminated there. And GreenAlert rebuilds this land refinery. He might just kind of not be worried about the ocean refineries. Just forget the naval refineries. I will deal with land refineries, and then I don't have to fight Akula subs. Or, you know, I guess go for this naval refinery, because that one's easy to control. Meanwhile, on the Soviet side of the maps, surely we had an MCV rebuild at some point. What has Hammerblade been doing? Go in APOC tanks. Okay, he deployed a war factory in the location where Obiek used to have his war factory. So it's a 2 war factory Soviet player. I mean, he does have 7.3k per minute, and he's had, you know, 7.3, 7.5k for a while. Obiek is still in this game. I feel like at this point, Obiek should probably leave, giving those 2 extra refineries to Hammerblade, especially as a lot of these refineries are now depleted, would definitely be nice. And Hammerblade really should have taken both of these refineries. Actually, what is going on? Hammerblade could have taken 2 refineries by now, maybe even 3 refineries, and just had, you know, anything that you want. 4 airfields worth of Twin Blades MiGs, go double war factory and actually produce units from both. You sort of could have done anything that he wanted. GreenAlert is once again on low power mode. Honestly, you should just sell off. Okay, he did rebuild his MCV. Just sell off the multi-gunner turret. Or I guess we saw the satellite drop, so yeah, he had to rebuild his MCV. But sell off these multi-gunner turrets. You don't need them. They're costing you extra power. And if he gets a harvester kill, that'll be pretty crazy with that. But nope, multi-gunner turret does finally go down. And I guess this multi-gunner turret is fine to keep around. But yeah. Oh, and now he's getting 2 Defender VXs. GreenAlert building quite a lot of static D. I'm not sure why the MCV rebuild took so long from Hammerblade. He has a pretty massive foundation upon which to build, but it did definitely take a while. I feel like there are 2 or 3 more refineries that he could take basically for free, especially for how much GreenAlert was focused on his corner of the map for the last couple of minutes. But now GreenAlert has kind of had a minute to stabilize. He's up to 6k per minute in income, and he's kind of got a massive army. It's tier 2. He's got tier 3 on the way. He's got Yari mini subs. He's kind of set up now. I feel like the time for Hammerblade to have free expansion and just build up and tech up and do whatever he wanted is kind of past. Toxins are going to get dropped on these tank busters. We'll see if any of them are still inside of the range. Barely no. They are a little bit outside of the toxin range. Well, not quite fast enough there. GreenAlert was a little bit too quick on moving his units out. Stingrays will be getting targeted down. This is still 3 Yari mini-subs that survive that little engagement. Refinery gets eliminated. This Harvester won't be long for the world either if he sticks around versus that heroic tank buster. And I guess these other guys just have to go suicidal. Nope, gonna die the old-fashioned way. APOC tanks and hammers both rolling up to the base of GreenAlert. He's going to be able to get the drop on those bullfrogs, keeping them away from the strikers, which are the real killers for this Soviet army. Hammer tanks now going to be trading out against this refinery. But once again, GreenAlert on low power mode. This guy cannot keep the lights on to save his life. He might be losing this war factory, but honestly, that's not the end of the world for this Empire play. Is he going to save his war factory? Even with all of that, he still saved the war factory, cleared out the MiGs as well. He got all 4 MiGs with his Tengus on the as they were returning home, and that just kind of worked out. That was, you couldn't have asked for a better engagement. Like 1 harvester down, couple of power plants, low power mode, of course, but the war factory survives. Tier 3? Tier 3's out here on the water. Okay, so we did leave it out on the water, power plants as well. I guess he's produced enough Yaris that he feels safe. We'll find out if he really means it. Tier 2 is on the Imperial docks as well. He could be going for Shoguns. Uh-oh, this APOC tank, he is way away from his friends. He's nowhere. 2 heroic strikers, 4 heroic strikers. 1 double vet, I think 2 are single vet as well. And it's going to be a Iron Curtain out onto the field. Naval Yard takes some damage, but does not get eliminated. 2 more Akulas, sending the Akulas out 2 by 2, it seems, by Hammerblade. At some point, Obiek did leave the game. One of his refineries is actually not even online, so that's a bit unfortunate for Hammerblade in this now 1v1 on Pool Party, which I believe the player Maniac did a 1v1 conversion for this map. So there used to be a map in the tournament pool that was Pool Party 1v1, and I think it was Pool Party, but a few refineries were maybe removed and some things were sort of moved around, and I think it was like forced cross spawns. And the Akula sub will go down. He almost gets the tier 3, but he doesn't quite get it. Tier 3 already purchased on the Mecha Bay, and this Naval Yard is very low on health. Dreadnought is now out, but again, I feel like Hammerblade kind of lost his opportunity, his moment of surprise, perhaps. GreenAlert has been hilariously low power mode for so long in this game. It is... And this Dreadnought, as soon as it gets spotted, it's dead. It has no support, no MiGs, no bullfrogs. We saw a second round of MiGs get eliminated, just completely iced out of this game. 4 more have been built, so this is like MiGs 9 through 12, I believe. Maybe even a few more than that, but 9 through 12 in the last couple of minutes even, as this Naval Yard has now gone tier 3. And the engineer will jump inside of it. Nicely done. So there are 4 Akula subs. If they all ultra torpedo it, I have no idea if they kill it off in one fell swoop or not. I don't know the ultra torpedo math on the Naval Yard, but it is now full health, so it'll have the best chance of survival. And you want to ultra torpedo it, you know, as close together as possible, because you don't want to be in one of those situations where like 4 ultra torpedoes or 4 sets of ultra torpedoes would kill it, but you only hit it with like 2, and then there's a little bit of a break. Well, That's 2 dead Akulas, 3 dead Akulas, and Hammerblade having some real problems trying to end this game. Balloon drop on the refinery cleans that up. MiGs finally find some kills. It's over top of a Shogun battleship, so it's not really an ideal situation for the Soviet player. But at least the MiGs finally find some kills. There's still 5 strikers. 4 of them are golden. Man, GreenAlert has so many heroic veteran elite units. He just has so many units that have ranked up so far. Iron Curtain is ready to go, by the way, so could be preserving some of these buildings. Nope. Going to give them up. Might be needed to save this. Oh, on the bullfrogs. Never mind. Or Iron Curtain on the tank busters. Kill them off. But yeah, Iron Curtain the bullfrogs against the strikers would be perfect. War Factory is next. Boom, boom. Couple of bonks on that War Factory to kill it off. And one of the MiGs did go golden, but not as golden as GreenAlert, who has ranked up so many units over the course of this game. Just truly gotten some very veteran units. MiGs finally going to be returning home. MCV repositions to the north side, and GreenAlert slowly but surely chipping away at a lot of what has been built up by Team Blue. A couple of APOC tanks going to be moving out. Iron Curtain on them. Nope, it was used on something else somewhere else. And now it's been reset. Strikers, one goes down, and the MiGs were Iron Curtained. The strikers can't transform because they'll get infected. 2 of them get infected anyways, and the MiGs will have to run away. 2 Iron Curtained heroic MiGs. That is indeed a terrifying sight. Shogun battleships going to be tearing down, and oh, he actually saves the strikers. Little tip there. You can use your premature discharge. Yes, not all of the devs had a very sophisticated sense of humor, but they made a funny game. But you can use the special ability of the Wave Force Artillery to fire through a unit, force fire on the ground on the other side of the terror drone unit to kill the terror drone inside of the unit. And that is how you clear out terror drones on the battlefield. Oil derrick getting, that's a long, oh wow, 32 minutes! When did this game get so long? That oil derrick has survived a long time. Actually, both of these oil derricks have survived for a very long time. The other oil derricks got cleaned up a while ago. Toxins? Yep, toxins get dropped, and they will chase away this army, sort of. Twin blades might get a kill. Nope, Wave Force Artillery down to about half health, and Hammerblade, at this point, you know, just take over this allied base. This has 10 grand, 9 grand, yeah, basically 20 grand in between those 2 ore nodes. 14k there, yeah, that's a lot of money. Wouldn't be a bad idea. You're gonna have not a lot of space in your main base in a minute anyways, so we'll see if he actually can do anything. Harvester gives his veterancy over to that Akula sub. And these Akula subs now going to be taking some tank buster shots and also taking some Shogun battleship shots. Naginata cruiser as the Naginata moves over to deal with these Akula subs. And the Tier 3 naval yard finally gets sold off. These Akula subs actually tearing apart this Empire Navy. GreenAlert will fall to the Soviet supremacy on the water. The player is blue, and on the oceans is where he's going to dominate. Tengus are about to fly over a flak cannon. They get tagged just a little bit. Then they do head on down south. Another refinery on the land. On land you may command, but at sea it is me, says Hammerblade. And also the Penguin. In the 1960-something Adam West Batman movie. More tank buster surprise getting called in, and Iron Curtain will kill them off. How do you kill off an Emperor Raged tank buster? Well, the Iron Curtain is a quick way to do it. One dreadnought out here on the edge. Could actually be used to kill off these refineries. Don't kill off the turrets because GreenAlert hates building power plants, and so the longer he spends in low power mode, the better it is for the Soviet player. GreenAlert, I do want someone to time how long GreenAlert has spent in low power mode this game. It has been a hilariously long amount of the game time, a very high percentage of the game time in this match. Not often does a player spend that long in low power mode, and GreenAlert truly has given up on trying to build anything on water. I mean, other than these internal pools, for which the party is named. But GreenAlert, he's got his couple of buildings on land, and then he has just said, I am not fighting these Akula subs anymore. And honestly, why would you? Everything else you can deal with. It's just the Akula subs. Oh, Crusher Crane out there on the water. It's just the Akula subs that are really giving you trouble. Magnetic Singularity gets called in. Wave Force Artillery going to be getting zapped by these hammer tanks now. And go for the Leech Beam. Point defense drones get called in. King Oni's move into position, and the Tengu's going to be going for the defense as well. Love to see the Leech Beam with these heroic hammers stealing those Wave Force weapons. Bull Rush comes in, cleans up a number of the hammer tanks, and the Wave Force hammer gets eliminated as well. No plucky hero hammer tank for Hammerblade. Unfortunately, if you're a Soviet fan, you don't get to see the awesome power of a artillery hammer tank, which is one of my favorite things about Red Alert 3, getting to see those artillery hammer tanks working their magic in matches, particularly when it's the Wave Force or the Athena hammer tank. Both are great. Refinery could be getting targeted down. Hammerblade, he has had a lot of time, and long ago he had like 8K per minute. Last couple of minutes, it has been down near 3K per minute with all of those depleted refinery nodes that he has. Strikers go for the transform, and now we do have a Psionic Decimator and a other thing, Nano Swarm Hive, both being activated by GreenAlert. Dreadnought may eventually get the kill on this oil derrick. Will he? Changes targets. He's going to try and go for the Psionic Decimator. No Eureka clones to bring the psionic powers upon the Soviet player. MiGs moving into position. Tengus will be able to deal with the MiGs. No Iron Curtain when you're that far away from base. Dreadnought gets sunk to the bottom of the ocean. And these three heroic Chopper VXs find yet another kill. Uh-oh. What is inside of this sudden transport? What do you have for us, GreenAlert? Are you going goofball mode? Is that a Eureka? Did she just watch all of her Eureka clones in the Psionic Decimator die, and now she wants revenge? Magnetic Singularity getting called in. Another Psionic Decimator gets constructed. And Iron Curtain immediately kills her off. Which, that's what these little pods are around the Psionic Decimator. If you didn't know, now you know. You can actually see little Eurekos in there. And that's actually kind of funny. The sudden transport is now also invincible, which is just resetting the timer on the Magnetic Harpoon. And as soon as that sudden transport isn't invincible, he will now be captured by the Magnetic Harpoon. Getting called in. MCV might be going down. Balloon bombs getting called in on top of that refinery. And it's going to be point defense drones on those Tengus. Toxins getting dropped. I'm not sure what the call is by the Soviet player. Yep, it is going to be Toxins. And the Tengus, there are enough of them out of range of that Tesla coil and out of range of the Toxins. If the MCV drives into the Toxins and kills itself, that'll be amazing. But no, it does die to the Tengus. Tengus and Strikers going to be moving off. One Bullfrog. Are there MiGs? There are a couple of MiGs. MiGs versus Tengus. Not a fight I would take if I'm the Soviet player and the Tengus have point defense drones. Hard to win versus the point defense drones. I believe there is a Natasha inside of this building, so we'll see if she actually ends up getting any kills or not. Round 2. We got 90 seconds until the Iron Curtain can be utilized. So let's make the most of the time. What is this? Double War Factory and another refinery core by GreenAlert. I didn't realize GreenAlert was also goofing this hard. I mean, when a player gets a super weapon, most of the time, you know, there can be a legitimate use of a chronosphere in a 1v1. But on a map that's as big and open and wide as Pool Party, when you get a super weapon, you're usually goofing. Okay, Iron Curtain is also useful. Iron Curtain and Chronosphere are like the only useful 1v1 super weapons. But you're usually goofing. Sometimes it is about breaking a lock that a stalemate that two players have found themselves in. But you're not really worried about a stalemate on this map. Perfect use of the Nanoswarm Hive. Just completely wastes the time of those units. Yuriko does escape. Natasha doesn't have the bead on her, so she has not gone for the snipe. There's going to be one sniper shot, 2, and 3. Oh! Oh! Natasha does not get the third shot. Yuriko Omega survives, and Hammerblade taps out there. GreenAlert finally finds the win after like 25 minutes of crazy action and then, I don't know, 15 minutes of nonsense as both Hammerblade and GreenAlert were kind of goofing at the end of that match. But that will do it for this 2v2 on Pool Party. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is Sybert signing out.